Video by the real life fake wizard. Stranger Things has 99 problems.
Stranger Things is like a sandwich. You start with 2 slices of bland, whole grain bread. You open it up expecting something inside turkey or ham or maybe even a sad slice of Swiss cheese, but there's nothing in there. I guess Will took all the meat. So let me get this straight. The Duffer Brothers had 9 years, hundreds of millions of dollars. They had the entire entertainment industry behind them, and this is what they delivered? The final battle against a Lovecraftian cosmic godlike entity is resolved in under 12 minutes via a video game QuickTime event. This show is littered with so many glaring plot holes, questions, and mistakes that it makes Game of Thrones' finale look decent, which I can't believe I'm saying. At least
This was the OG. This is why it's not hitting me this hard. Is because I saw the Game of Thrones ending. But I've had also good endings to TV shows. But these are all my opinion. But I felt like Breaking Bad ended on a good note. I felt like The Sopranos ended on a good note, even though it has that like ambiguity in it with what happened in the restaurant. But good endings to shows. But because I watched Game of Thrones so much later and I missed the outrage in real time, like how we are with Stranger Things right now, I could just say for all things that Game of Thrones lacked, it makes Stranger Things look like they completely dropped the ball.
and the broken was an answer. A stupid answer, a terrible answer, a very bad answer. But it was an answer. Stranger Things has ended with more questions than answers, and today we're gonna go through the, I can't believe it, 99 narrative failures this show leaves behind. Today's indie game shoutout is Symphony of War, the Nephilim Saga.
Get your
QR
bag.
code on your
Get your
screen.
bag, brother.
Now back to the video. As we go into this, yes, we're still early on. The show just ended a few days ago. Yes, the Duffer Brothers are likely to issue retractions or bogus updates answering some of these questions, but that's weak. We're paying $17.99 a month to watch this show on Netflix. I want all the answers inside the show that we're paying for. We're about to go.
Facts. That's one thing that really pissed me off about this situation is that when people have questions, you can't simply go back to the show. Like, you should be able to just watch it through and understand why do we now have to have a postseason presser about what is and what isn't, when that's not what the show I get it's some mystery to it, but by this time all of the mystery should be unveiled and we should be explaining things. It should be at a bookend stop, not open to another, because really what this is, if they want to milk this, is have a sequel series to this where it explains the rest of what happened in the previous 5 seasons. That's the only way they can do it. And with the amount of money they made off this and the amount of questions that still hang out there, they have no reason to not bring this show back. I know they said it is done, so on and so forth, but they have no reason to not revamp this series and do it over again to just milk it. Because did you see the rollout? I know the show popular, it got everything behind it, but did you see the rollout, the merch, the commercials, all of this stuff? It seemed like more time and money was spent on that, fleshing that out, than it was the actual contents of the season. Now, it was some enjoyable things about the season. I'm not gonna say that it was all bad or it was all shit, but it's just so many questions, bro.
Through a list of plot holes, inconsistencies, and unanswered questions post the Stranger Things 5 finale. So, of course, spoilers ahead, although that should be obvious. Here's a list of unresolved issues associated with dimensional mechanics and the timeline. Number 1, the Upside Down is formed on November 6th, 1983, despite Vecna's long history predating Will's disappearance. If the Upside Down is a wormhole between worlds, how was 11 able to shove Henry directly into Dimension X in Season 4? There was no wormhole until sometime later when 11 interacts with the first Demogorgon. Number 2, November 6th significance is hinted at throughout the final season. Does it actually mean anything? Henry has it on his Boy Scout uniform,
No.
but it doesn't seem to mean anything despite characters continually bringing it up. Number 3. The Mind Flayer's form shifts from a dust cloud in Dimension X to a kaiju flesh suit without any mechanism or explanation. Number 4. Will's birthday is March 22nd, 1971, the same day as Henry Creel's. The show acknowledges this and does absolutely nothing with it. Number 5.
There's so many coincidences that's open for conspiracy theories that go absolutely nowhere. That I feel like it could have just been lazy writing, or it was somebody else's birthday on staff, so they were just like November 2nd, November, and they just slapped it on there.
How did the heroes escape Dimension X? Did 11 need to jump the rocks again? How did the kids get down? There is no scene here depicting escaping Dimension X. Number 6. At the end, we see the dust particles separate from the children and float upward. Does that mean the Mind Flayer is still alive despite its body being dead? Is its body dead? Number 7. There is a 2-day escape gap from the Upside Down after the Season 4 finale that's never shown despite the obvious dangers. It looks like a nuke went off in Hawkins, but it doesn't affect anyone or anything. Number 8. If Vecna is strong enough to use his powers from Dimension X to affect Earth, why did he need to be in the Upside Down Creel house in Season 4 to attack all of the kids? Number 9. 11 recognizes Will before the events of Season 1, suggesting some kind of unseen connection, but that's never explored. Number 10. How did Dr. Brenner prepare notes inside the Upside Down after its formation without ever entering it? Number 11.
These some new ones, but it's just a lot more shit that just keeps coming out. All right, I really don't understand and why there's no explanation as to why that where they fought the Mind Flayer at the physical form. There's no Demogorgons. Even when they climbing up the shit, like every time is even when it was Hopper and 11 just kind of hanging around waiting for the military and shit. There's no Demogorgons, nothing around, nowhere. It seemed like he only pop them out when he want to do an ambush or when he was trying to get the kids. But it seemed like he could just make tears and have them pop up anywhere. Henry can, or Vecna, whatever you want to call him. But wouldn't you think that would be a nice move to pop out when you fighting 11 or some shit, or fighting like you basically outnumbered, even though you a fucking telekinetic and that shit is OP. You don't use any of your. You would think you would throw out all the stops because it's your big bad plan. Nothing to protect yourself. Shit is crazy.
Follow up to that, why isn't the air toxic in the Upside Down anymore? In Season 1, that seems to be a big deal with discussion of dangerous spores in the air. But by the end of the series, everybody's just hiking through unprotected. Number 12, blowing up the wormhole should have sucked in Central Hawkins through the open portal. Why didn't it? 13, characters leisurely traverse Dimension X like it's a Sunday afternoon walk in the park, ignoring the established hostilities. Why is it so safe on Dimension X? 14, Dimension X has a sun. The Mind Flayer is sleeping directly in the sunlight, but it's established through the entire series that these creatures do not like heat. Dimension X is depicted as a desert canyon. This doesn't make any sense. 15. Where are the Demogorgons? Where is any other life form in Dimension X? Why is Dimension X, the homeworld of the Demogorgon creatures, shockingly empty? 16. What happened to any other Demo Bats? They seem to have just killed Eddie and never showed up again. 17.
I guess Eddie was they went into hibernation after they ate Eddie. That's my explanation, bro. They just, they're like, man, we done ate good. It's finna be a upside down winter. We gotta go chill.
The exotic red matter powering the Upside Down is strong enough to atomically melt the building and other people.
But they're unscathed. Bro, I thought they was dead, bro. I thought they was dead. These false stakes to transition into the next episode. I'm like, oh well, they finally killed off two characters, and it's gonna be kind of messed up because they never really figured out or confessed to what was going on or the problems with their relationship. So it'd have been like, that would have been something unresolved. But they got their closure.
But that doesn't affect Team Steve standing next to it at all. Why is that? Plot armor is not a good answer. 18. How did the military acquire the Mind Flayer rock without creating a wormhole? No, Duffers, I don't want a spin-off about this. You should have explained it in the show. Also, no, I'm not paying $400 a seat to see your Broadway show about something as critical as this. You should have explained this matter right here in the show. 19. In season 4, the Demogorgon is stuck in Russia. Why couldn't it teleport away? Demogorgons teleport all the time. 20. Joyce and Hopper release some.
He just wanted to fade. I'm gonna get my own. He was there in Russia. He must have just been one of the Demogorgons that wanted to run the fade. You know what I'm saying? It was nice and cold there. He probably liked the climate, and he knew he was gonna get. He had unlimited food. He had all the food to himself. He didn't have to, fight with the other Demogorgons for scraps in the Upside Down, waiting for, the party to show up. They didn't have to wait on somebody to come bring him some food, drop it off. So every once in a while, they release him, feed him a prisoner. He eating good every day. That's my best explanation.
Kind of dark particles in season 4 while inside the Russian prison. What happens here? What did that mean? 21. In season 1, the latch on the buyer's door is opened by, and I swear this is what the Duffers said, Vecna, who telepathically unlatches the door from inside Dimension X. Okay, so Vecna is strong enough telepathically to unlock doors from across dimensions, but he's not strong enough to fight a bunch of teenagers with attitude on his own home turf. 22. The tentacles are meant to be part of the hive mind, and they send signals back to Vecna. How come Vecna wasn't alerted when Team Steve entered the house in season 4, specifically to kill him? 23. How did no one know?
Because they didn't. Steve got plot armor. That's the easy answer. But Steve got plot armor. So because of that, it went back to them and it was like, look, I know what we said, but it's Steve and we can't kill him or any of the main characters. We could put them in conflict and make it seem like they gonna die, but it's Steve. So if it was some one-off character or somebody we met 10 minutes ago, maybe you can come do something about it. Maybe send a Demogorgon, Demodog, something to go take care of them, but not today, bruh. Steve.
Notice the flesh wall inside the Upside Down until season 5. You kind of can't miss it. 24. How did Brenner's neck chip sever Henry's powers? And why didn't the military pursue that technology in season 5? That's 24 plot points so far, and we're just getting started. Vecna is one of the most incompetent villains I think I've ever seen. Vecna is a villain who has been built up for 5 seasons as an existential threat, a god-tier psychic monster who can kill with his mind. And in the finale, he's reduced to a joke. None of his plans work, none of his plans are fully explained, and he loses every single fight he's in. In fact, he only wins in season 4 on a technicality, a victory he seemingly squanders instantly for no important reason. In the end, Joyce Byers walks up to his impaled body and proceeds to hack away at his neck until his head falls off, like she's carving a Thanksgiving turkey. Joyce, we're fighting a psychic kaiju monster thing here. Take the sharpened axe. Here's a list of...
Nah, because even how strong he is, going back to the strength and consistency, bro, he can detach a lot, but on his last breaths, he can't pull himself up off that spike, or at a bare minimum, toss Joyce ass out of the cave, or even throw the axe away and escape. He just sit there and just take it, man.
Narrative failures with creature and villain logic. 1. Creature origins are very vague. Demogorgons supposedly come from Dimension X, but they're absent in the finale, despite being Vecna's army. Do they have a timeshare somewhere and were on vacation for this big fight? Where were the other creatures? Oh, wait a second. The Duffers explain this. Apparently, Vecna was so unprepared that he didn't summon demos.
A psych the god tier psychic didn't think ahead enough to have his minions on deck, or even just something hanging around other than just the big bad. He was not expecting a sneak attack on his home turf. Never in a million years could even imagine that. They're there somewhere. We obviously discussed having a demo battle on top of the Mind Flayer battle, but it felt more right to us. So why does he need demos to fight when the Mind Flayer thing can attack them? Because why does it matter? He doesn't need his little ant army. Mind you, bro, you would make it seem like the demo dogs and the bats and all this other shit and the demogorgons just can just get smacked around. Now, granted, when they get fire and shit, they pretty easy to put down. But we talking about them being able to eat military fire, just run through them and shred through an army base where it's not like they just got some little shit on them. They got real firepower on them, fucking them up, whooping their ass. So you mean to tell me they just ants now? They wasn't treated like ants the entirety of the series. They pretty damn strong actually. So I'm not buying that shit, bro. It's a giant desolate planet. If you recall, you see Henry wandering the planet in season 4 at some point in his journey. He does see a demo far in the distance, but it's not like they're hanging out in little huts. It's not their giant civilization. But why isn't there at least some? I'm not asking for an army. Even in the last video, I reacted to some shit about Stranger Things. There doesn't need to be an army, but like, why isn't there any of them around? Any of them.
This is up there with Dumb and Dumber saying that Daenerys forgot about the Iron Fleet. Number 2, the infecting stone that turned Henry into Vecna. What actually is that? Because it's never explained. Number 3, the hive mind connection is very selective. Will's pain is only plot convenient. He feels no agony from Vecna or the Mind Flayer's death. Is this some kind of new unexplained power? Number 4, Vecna is strong enough to fight the entire military in person at the end of Volume 1, but is the weakest of the entire series in the series finale final fight. Why? Number 5, what actually...
That's what I'm talking about, bro. Real firepower with the flame. He literally upped the flame on him. But when it come to the party, you know what I'm saying? The D&D party, they so tough. You know what I'm saying? They handling business. They take down a Mind Flayer. Bing, bam, boom. No problem. But it's even killing me because the way that they got up on top of that mountain, that would seem like it would take like an hour to get up there. Did they have an elevator on Planet X that we didn't know about? Was it just like a steep hill that they had to climb up to get up there? I don't know. But it looked like the Mind Flayer was a skyscraper level. So for them to get up that high that fast to get to Bro, and for Nancy to even have a chance to sprint away from her, she need to be a gold medalist sprinter or some shit. Or she need to be an athlete somewhere. I think she missed her calling. You know, she could be a shooter too, but she missed her calling by going into this wanting to be a journalist shit. She needs to be on the U.S. Olympic team. She probably could have cooked. You know what I'm saying?
Are all of the tendrils and tentacles inside the Upside Down? Where did they go in the final season? If the government removed them, why didn't Vecna put down new ones? Number 6, why did Vecna allow the military to move into the Upside Down? Why did he give up all of that ground? If some demo dogs could take out tons of high-level military in season 2, why didn't he send some dogs in to dispatch the military? Number 7. In season 1, how did Vecna infect the upside-down wormhole with the most tendrils and tentacles in the entire series the moment the wormhole opens? The wormhole opens the moment 11 creates it in the beginning of season 1, but it's already loaded with tentacles. Number 9, what triggers the Mind Flayer kaiju to wake up, and why at that moment? There is still a very wide gap between our heroes and the Mind Flayer. Also, why is it sleeping? Is it aura farming? Number 10, the Mind Flayer is reduced to brute force in the finale, losing all of its amorphous abilities from previous seasons. How and why? 11, the military can't harm demo dogs, but Rambo Nancy's M16 damages the Mind Flayer directly.
Fucking crazy. But they're ants. They're ants, though. From the Duffer Brothers. I'm sorry, but the more I watched this, the more it pissed me off that was the explanation to that. Because what do you mean? They literally throw in Molotov cocktails, fucking the starter gun flares, or the flares, that's what it is, and then some flamethrowers, which should do damage, but bullets, bro? Bullets should be bouncing off of this thing like fucking BB guns.
How? 12, the Mind Flayer's plan makes no sense. What is the point of the abducted children? How does merging with more kids make it powerful enough to pull Dimension X into Earth? 13, follow.
They kind of vaguely explained it as, what is it? Their minds being easily manipulated, but does he need minds? Does he need minds to be powered? Is he trying to make more like little Henrys to amplify this shit? I don't know. I have no idea. Is there like batteries? Is there like AAA batteries? That's the size that fits. I don't know.
There is a major discussion about Vecna targeting Will because he thinks Will is isolated and weak. Are all 12 kids isolated and weak? Why these 12 kids? And why pick kids from the exact same class? 14. Henry has a broken leg but limps around instead of teleporting, despite having the ability to do so. 15. The Mind Flayer doesn't use its smoke form to avoid harm in the finale. Why not shift into the smoke form to avoid getting hit by all the kids' bullets? 16. Dimension X, or as they call it, the Abyss, is a barren wasteland. Why? 17. The Mind Flayer's post-merger plans are very unclear. Wouldn't merging the two planets also kill the Mind Flayer? 18. Particles in blood give powers to Will, but 11 and Callie can't control the hive like Will can. Why is that? 19. Further, why does 11 have the telekinetic abilities and Callie can create the illusions? Is there a specific reason why both cannot do both abilities? 20. Vecna sends Devadogs to kill Max instead of appearing himself, despite being impenetrable while physically present on Earth. 21. Vecna can create realistic illusion projections from across dimensions and while engaged in activity in the mind plane. At the same time he chases the children inside the mind plane, he also creates the illusion to trick Hopper into freeing 11 from the water tank. Why not do powerful illusions like this more often? 22. The relationship between the Mind Flayer possessing Henry is fleshed out in the Broadway play, as the Mind Flayer battles for control over Henry over the course of years. In the series finale, Henry says he and the Mind Flayer are one. Why didn't the show properly explain this relationship? Is the Broadway show optional canon to be retconned when needed? It's like Star Wars and all their books. 23. The Mind Flayer origin is completely unexplained. Where did it come from? Was it from the Abyss? Is it from Dimension X? Another planet, maybe? 24. The Mind Flayer is originally seen in particle form inside of the Upside Down in Season 2. And then it makes a flesh golem physical appearance in Season 3. Why not send infinite Demogorgons? Why are so few Demogorgons sent each time? Why so selective with the cannon fodder of each invasion? 25. Why didn't Vecna execute his season 5 plan immediately after season 4 rifts are created? Is it because of his injuries from Team Steve? Why did he take so long to fight back? 26. What exactly is the cause stopping Henry from entering Hawkins? They talk about needing gates all the time in season 4, but they don't fully expand on it. Why can't Vecna cross over himself and do everything himself? 27.
I don't know. I'm still stuck. I'm listening to all this shit. All of it makes sense, and it could be like just glossed over because they put so much time in between seasons. So I think most of this shit is because they just decide what they want to do that season, and then a lot of shit that they set up in the other seasons just get forgotten about. But when I'm thinking about it, bro, I really believe most of the shit with Vecna, especially. I feel like they jumped the shark with the movie complex thing and the mall thing, where they had him doing all this wild shit. Could have went more so actiony adventure thing and went more of the psychological route where he's tricking them a lot. Like he's tricking Will. Will is spying on him. 11 is spying on him. All this other shit, and they got to figure out what's what. Have reveals like that with Hopper. It could have got cheap sometimes, but if they did the reveals all at once, you know what I'm saying? Like he was setting up stuff where it was false memories, and they had a plan, but the plan was contingent upon false memories, and they all came through at that time, and then did the Hopper thing at the end where it's like, all right, is this real? Is this fake? But I really only feel like they did the 11 thing to try and allude to, oh, he just killed her. He killed his daughter. And then I just wish they committed. If they was going to kill her, right, I probably would have been mad. But I wish they just committed to killing 11. Because they alluded to it again. They just used the illusion thing to try and make it seem like she died. And that was a good time to use the power, so he don't use it all season long. So they really just using this stuff as like plot devices and then just forgetting about them. That's what I'm landing on right now. Most of the shit that they set up is just plot devices, or it'll be a cool scene, and then they forget about it later on just because they're moving on to the next plot device to push shit along. I really don't think that they thought further than that. And that, to put a bow on it, I feel like a lot of this stuff comes from the fact that this show spans over 9 years, so a lot of shit gets forgotten about or canned.
How did Vecna get the kids into Dimension X and into the Mind Flayer's heart chamber? Can he fly? 28. Vecna needs exactly 12 vessels. Why not fewer? Why not more? There is no explanation. 29. Camazotz isn't explained. What actually is it? What are the rules of this mental world? I imagine it's like the astral plane from X-Men, but even then, why and how? 30. Is Camazotz Vecna's mind? Is it 11's void? Are those two the same thing? Why or why not?
I think it's the same thing. He could just flesh it out more than 11 because he had more practice with his powers and he's more powerful than 11.
31. What actually would the Mind Flayer do on Earth? What are the creature's actual motivations? We're never told. 31 plot holes, just for the villains. And we're not done yet. Let's talk about every character the Duffer Brothers simply forgot existed. Here is a list of unresolved character fates and forgotten storylines. Number 1, Argyle from Season 4 vanishes after Season 4. No mention, no resolution. Number 2, Enzo escapes Russia and is never mentioned again. Number 3, Vicky has an implied breakup with Robin, but we get no details. And she's absent from the ending entirely. For a character that got so much screen time, why is her fate left so open-ended? Is her inclusion in the show sponsored by U-Haul? 4. Murray fades into the background with no resolution, which is disappointing. Number 5. Dr. Owens is completely forgotten. What happened to him? 6. Susie is never mentioned. Her breakup with Dustin is unresolved and seemingly done off screen. 7. Dr. K's entire operation ends without closure. Her fate and her backstory remain unknown. Number 8. Where are Max's parents? And how could they afford to keep her on life support for over 18 months between seasons 4 and 5? Number 9. How did Max graduate? She was in a coma for 18 months. The No Child Left Behind Act wasn't established till 2001.
I think they gave her a coma honorary honorary diploma unless Lucas was doing all her homework for her and letting him turn it in. But the only thing I could say is maybe they just gave her some collateral because it had something to do with maybe they was suing the city. I don't know for the earthquakes and shit. Maybe I don't know. Maybe she got some kind of settlement or something that could be explained away in the plot. But some of this, the bigger shit needs to be explained.
During the Bush administration. Number 10, Mr. Clark has an abrupt involvement and calm debrief without any shock at learning the supernatural truth. Number 11, why doesn't anyone care about Ted Wheeler? And his kids don't go to see him while he's in the hospital. Number 12, how in the hell did Karen Wheeler sneak past Demodogs, know where the Demodogs were going, quietly load the oxygen tanks into the dryer, and then sneak away fast enough after turning on the dryer to not be seen? Also, how is she still alive? How is Ted Wheeler alive either? Her neck exploded, and if she did survive, she should be in an extremely deep coma right now. 13, Derek's parents and sister are tied up in a barn and apparently forgotten. 14, what happened to all the pregnant women that were still inside the military facility, inside the Upside Down? Did they just get sucked out into the vacuum of space? That's 14 characters and storylines just abandoned. Kind of like they never mattered. Here's something that should bother you more than it probably does. This is a 9-year buildup for a show where nothing matters. There are no consequences in this finale. The government captures our heroes after they escape the Upside Down and then just lets them go to graduation. Here's a list of unresolved consequences and logic failures. Number 1, government leniency makes no sense. Nancy and Hopper kill soldiers but are released without consequences. Why didn't the military execute everyone involved for treason? Or maybe just to do a cover-up? This is the Reagan administration we're talking about. Number 2, Dr. K and the military are hell-bent on making more 11s inside the Upside Down, despite the fact Brenner's lab was on Earth. Why put the base inside the Upside Down? Is there a statistical benefit to that? And why act so leniently about the threats that are inside? Number 3, what happens to Will's powers post-Mind Flayer death, and why didn't they confirm whether he loses his powers or not? Number 4,
I'm assuming he just lost them when the big bad died, but the military thing is the one that's it needed some, at least some bookend explanation as to why they let him go, bruh. Cause they're in no world where that portion of it is grounded and like they're the evil government that they're just like, you know.
Max's recovery is impossible. How did she regain her eyesight back? Number 5, Max is unfazed by Hopper's return. Last she knew, he was dead. Number 6, Hopper and Joyce know Henry pre-finale, but never mention it or react with any kind of appropriate shock. This is confirmed with the Broadway show, and the Duffers are saying they realized it off-screen. Number 7, how did they get on top of the cliff so quickly? Number 8, how did
I just had some long, drawn-out explanation as to why they got their ass up there, but yeah, that's also something where you would think it was worth like some moment of like, you know, not even like you didn't even get that. You didn't even get like a shock and awe, like a little bit of it. It was just, they're looking at, bro. That's what it was.
Eric fit through the small hole? Number 9, even after climbing out the exit hole from Kamazat's, they still need to be woken up one by one. What was the point of showing all the footage of them running to escape? Furthering that, number 10, in Kamazat's, Max can freely run around unscathed by her comatose and blind body on Earth. How come Derek gets winded from running around in the mental plane?
This is something I made a comment about on TikTok when he was running around in the barn in the real world, didn't get tired, but where he should have unlimited stamina, he's tired. Why? Why is he tired now, bro?
This is just fat phobia at this point. 11. Why is all the military mean to Derek? Number 12. Project Rainbow and the Russian plot lines are completely unresolved. 13. Mike's knowledge of the Kali Saves 11 illusion plan has such a weak indication of how he learns it that it furthers the likelihood that 11 is probably dead and everything Mike believes is conjecture. How would 11 have snuck away if the kryptonite boomboxes render all these magical heroes incapacitated? Number 14. Hopper has impossibly quick trauma recovery. The entire series has Hopper willing to lose his life or take his life. But after 11's death, he is seemingly the nicest and happiest he's ever been. 15. Will's continued connection to the hive mind is writer's convenience. The particles left Will's body in season 2. Why does he have any kind of supernatural anything after that? Throughout season 5, he's still connected to the hive mind. How? 16. Will is included in all of the plans despite being a spy risk through his hive link. It's a two-way door. If Will can tap into Vecna, Vecna can easily tap into Will. Yikes. 17. What happened to Eddie's body? Was it abandoned in the Upside Down? Was it ever recovered? 18. Only the protagonists know about the events happening in the world. The town has no broader awareness. What is the propaganda the town is being told, and what are people saying about it in the town? The world outside of our heroes feels stale, and it didn't in season 1. 19, and this is a nitpick. Why are they using D20s when playing Dungeons & Dragons? The D20 dice was around then, but not made a staple of the game until the 3rd edition. 20. Mike's theory about 11's fate comes after an 18-month delay. Somebody needs to put this kid in therapy. 21. If the Mind Flayer is still alive, then a new Flayer stone can be collected again by the government, resetting the entire cycle. If this is true, then 11's sacrifice would be pointless. 22. Why is Steve's conclusion that he becomes a high school sex ed teacher? Isn't that super creepy? And wouldn't he have needed to go to college or something to get a job and education? 23. Lucas says there are no coincidences, but the finale relies entirely on coincidences. 24. Why couldn't Vecna drag Holly while inside Kamazat's? 25. 11 and Max do not hug upon reunion. In season 3, it's established they are best friends. They share under a minute of time together. 26. How did 11 and Callie pull Max's mind back into Kamazat's? 27. And breaking down Mike's cope that 11 might still be alive, how would Callie survive long enough after being shot and bleeding out for approximately 2-ish hours, then have the strength to pull off an illusion at the same time the wormhole is collapsing, and at the same...
How would she even know that it's happening? How close was that? How close was that? You know, how close was that to where she was? To where she would know? She should be passed out, even if she's not dead. That was insane to me. That's why I thought that shit was fake.
Same time, have enough strength to pull Mike into a mind plane to say goodbye. 28. Holly's encouraging dipshit Derek to confront Henry alone is a pointless waste of time. Nothing comes of this. 29. Why wouldn't the heroes consider using the sound kryptonite machines against Vecna? Our protagonists never have problems taking out military. Why not use the military technology that's left behind? 30. The Duffer Brothers said this was going to be a dark Christmas. What did they mean by that? Because nothing happened in Volume 2 except Will coming out. That's 30 more. And as we tally up everything from each of the lists, we'll find 33 plot holes, 30 lore gaps and retcons, 20 dropped arcs, 14 convenience and logic failures, and, okay, maybe 1 or 2 nitpicks. But that puts us at 99. 99 narrative failures of Stranger Things. You know, a show or a movie or any story really is only as good as its plot. Stranger Things Season 1 had a strong plot, and it's only because that plot was so strong that we fell in love with all the characters. The story hit on such satisfying...
You know, maybe I need to go back and watch Season 1 and just end it there. Because, like I said, I think a lot of this stuff was just used as plot devices. All of these problems, they were used to push the story along. And then after that, it was the next thing, bro. What's the next big thing we could do?
beats, making the characters feel like real people put into this supernatural world. But as each season progressed, it stopped being about plot and started being more about character. It stopped being about overcoming the obstacles and challenges of this supernatural fictional world and started being more about the characters complaining about my feelings. And worse than that, there are now countless plot holes left behind. Unanswered questions that are going to be poorly explained away by the writers who waited too long and didn't deliver. I made a video in November discussing the idea that people aren't going to like the ending, regardless, because expectations are just too high. When you make people wait for something, their expectations increase. I made that video with the theory that they were going to at least give us something to actually debate and discuss for a series ending. But the reality is that this whole show was just empty. Friends, if this video brought you any value,
I think it's a lot. I don't think it's empty. It just doesn't. It just doesn't make sense if you watch the show all the way through, or if you started the show from beginning and watched it until the end. You like a lot of this shit don't make sense. But if you was just cut your brain off, which I think a lot of them was, just cut your brain off and go along for the ride, then you'll be fine. But again, for how long this show went on, you just can't do it. You for the years invested, you just can't do it. And I think that fans deserve better. That's my take on it. What's your take on it? What would you have liked to see in this final season of Stranger Things?